Retinoids like Tretinoin are the gold standard skincare ingredient for anti-aging, but they're kind of divas and they haze you when you start using them. I'm Dr. Sheu, a Stanford-trained dermatologist in the Seattle area. I like to cover evidence-based skincare topics that are inspired by my friends, family, viewers, and patients. Once in a while, I'll get a patient in the office with a rash on their face and neck, and we figure out together that it's their new retinoid tearing up their skin. With all the irritation, redness, and peeling, I don't blame you if you've tried them before and quit. I'll share how I, as a dermatologist with sensitive skin and rosacea, use them in my own skincare routine to reduce irritation and redness and give you a real, unsponsored look at which over the counter retinoids I recommend. This is part one of a three-part series I'm doing on retinoids. In the next video, I'll break down the retinol versus retinal debate and whether retinal is really 11 times stronger. And in part three, I'll walk through specific product recommendations from budget to prescription. Make sure to subscribe if that sounds interesting to you. A couple of things to mention before we really dig in. Please don't use retinoids if you're pregnant, and don't feel bad if you just can't tolerate retinoids. Some people's skin just doesn't like them. You're still going to be okay. Step number one before the retinoid gets anywhere near my skin. I ask myself, is today even a good day? If my rosacea is flaring or my skin is super dry, it's better to just put it down and walk away. For example, my rosacea flares even when I have a tiny amount of alcohol. Doesn't matter the type, half a beer, small pour of wine. Within a day or two, I start to get little rosacea papules and pustules on my cheeks. If my skin is already irritated or inflamed, I'm skipping retinoids that night. That's another thing, I apply retinoids at night. Some retinoids are stable when exposed to light, and some are not stable. For example, adapalene is more light stable than tretinoin, but retinoids are usually just used once a day, so I think it's easier for me personally to just use my retinoid at night and not even think about photostability in the first place. Another plug for nighttime use is that some retinoids, especially the higher strength retinals or retinaldehydes, can have a pretty noticeable color. I don't like to change my skin tone during the day, so any products that change my skin color, including retinals, copper peptides, which are blue, I save those for my night routine, but RIP my pillowcase. So if today's a good day for a retinoid, meaning I'm not dry or peely, there's no rosacea flare, or other skin issues going on like eczema or perioral dermatitis, I'm giving myself the green light to apply a retinoid. Next, because I have sensitive skin, I use the open face sandwich method when I use retinoids, meaning I always use them with moisturizers. Using retinoids with moisturizer improves their tolerability. It reduces your chance that your skin is going to get red, dry, or flaky. I've seen people say that you can't use retinoids with moisturizer because it will dilute them or make them less effective. The best study I've seen on this topic was presented at the American Academy of Dermatology meeting last year. Researchers at Emory University tested retinoids on leftover skin from tummy tuck procedures. They compared gene markers of retinoid activity after the skin was treated with 1. Just a retinoid, 2. An open face sandwich, meaning retinoid before or after moisturizer, and 3. A closed sandwich for a retinoid as the hem between two layers of moisturizer. There was no difference between the retinoid only and open face sandwich groups. The closed sandwich did reduce retinoid bioactivity, so I prefer to use the open face sandwich method. Using retinoids with moisturizer greatly improves your skin's ability to tolerate them and use them consistently. But don't be discouraged that even when you sandwich retinoids with moisturizers, your skin can still get red, dry, or flaky, especially when you're using stronger retinoids like prescriptions or even some over-the-counters. With time and gradually using them, your skin might learn to tolerate stronger retinoids, or it might not. My skin hates tretinoin to this day. Just do whatever your skin likes and tolerates. Don't push yourself too hard. This is just an example of how I moisturize my face before using retinoids, but you do what you want, especially if you have a routine that already works for you. This is an average day for my skin, meaning it's not exceptionally dry or oily. I have combo skin with an oily T-zone, and I have dry, sensitive skin on my inner cheeks, and I have really low maintenance skin on the sides of my cheeks that never gives me trouble. It's kind of like I have three different people's skin on my face, which makes me sound like I'm a serial killer, but I think you get what I'm talking about. Anyway, that's why I layer my moisturizers differently on different parts of my face. I use a hydrating toner all over my face and neck. Then I apply a hydrating serum that doesn't irritate my skin. Then to super duper dry areas, I add a heavier moisturizer, and I'm avoiding any sort of occlusives since the study that I mentioned earlier looked at using non-occlusive moisturizers. So now I'm done with my moisturizers, and that's like the layer of bread in my avocado toast or open face sandwich. Once I'm moisturized enough, then I'll apply my retinoid, which is like the avocado in my avocado toast. You might have heard about the pea-sized amount rule of thumb, meaning that a pea-sized amount of retinoid should be enough to cover your whole face. You squeeze a pea-sized amount onto your finger, then you basically make something that looks like the sign of the cross on your face. You dot on your forehead, you dot on your nose, then your cheeks, and then you add a little dot on your chin. It's just a little bit. You're not trying to frost a cupcake, and a little bit goes a long way. You can always increase the amount that you're using over time. Feel free to do the same on your chest and neck. FYI, your neck and body skin might not tolerate the same strength of retinoid as your face does. Even if your face tolerates prescription strength retinoids, your neck might not, or you may need to use them less often on your body compared to your face. Next tip, it depends on how sensitive your skin is, but I run on the sensitive side and I don't use most other actives like AHAs or even vitamin C when I'm using retinoids, just my moisturizers and a retinoid. That's it for what I'm applying tonight, and tomorrow I'll wash it all off and apply my moisturizers and sunscreen. Here are a couple more tips to increase tolerability. It's common for people to have a ramp up period when starting retinoids, meaning they start at a lower strength and apply retinoids only 2 to 3 times per week in the beginning, something like only on Monday and Thursday nights or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights. If your skin tolerates it, then you can increase how often you're using it by a day a week, little by little, until hopefully you're able to use it every night eventually. And just because you can't tolerate one retinoid doesn't mean you won't tolerate all the other ones. One of my biggest and earliest supporters on this channel, Andre, wasn't able to tolerate a ton of retinoids until he tried triferritine. So sometimes you just have to kiss a few frogs before you find one that works for you. So there you have it, exactly how I use retinoids as a sensitive skin dermatologist. Let's learn from each other. Do you guys have any tips or tricks that you'd like to add? If this was helpful, don't forget to like or subscribe or share this video with someone who's struggling with retinoids. And if you want to keep going with me, in part 2 of this series, I'm going to do a deep dive on retinol versus retinal and the actual science behind these claims. Thanks for watching.